Hi everybody, my name is Alex. This is the second time I'm recording this because I recorded it the first time and my mic was muted, so it was 40 minutes wasted, but it's fine. So recently I've been getting back into art, drawing, and one of the things I used to draw a lot was warrior cats. So I recently saw the Clan Gen challenge and decided to give it a go. So you may notice that this isn't a year. This is just the base starting cats that created this clan. That's because within the first year, the clan doubled in size and I didn't want to have to draw 20 plus cats. That's later Alex's problem. This clan is called ValeClan. It was born following the destruction of their home valley, their home gorge's 3 clans. A horrible, tragic flood swept through following in human terms, it was the aftermath of a hurricane that tore down a nearby 2-leg dam, which resulted in the entire gorge getting flooded out. Lots of cats unfortunately died in the initial flood, but it was almost immediately followed by swarms of 2-legs in the area coming to scavenge, clear out what they could, find what they could after this huge flood. And unfortunately, most remaining clan cats were taken. To start off ValeClan, after that probably long and unwanted introduction to the territories, would be Coldstar. Coldstar is 35 moons old. She is the leader, of course, formerly going by Coldfern. She was the deputy of her clan. It was the same clan, actually, that Skythud comes from. As well as Weaselpounce. Weaselpounce, Skythud, and Coldstar all come from the same clan. Coldstar is described as strict and a great speaker. Despite a slightly faltering memory, she's very young to be a leader, but she was chosen based on her ability to communicate, to get ideas across in a way that only benefits her clanmates. She's got that confident air and is able to command her clan without being a sort of tyrant. Despite her cold disposition, Coldstar cares deeply for her clan and constantly worries about whether or not she'll be enough for these cats, enough to keep these cats alive and well after everything that's happened. The deputy of this clan is Cragpass. She's about 100 moons old at the start. She's confident, she's smart, she's got this kind of air about her that just radiates authority. And that's one of the reasons Cragpass was chosen by Coldstar. Was that the best decision? We'll have to see, because Cragpass really isn't a fan of kits, and absolutely despises Rabbitkit. Cragpass has the opinion that another mouth to feed that can't help support them is only going to damage this fragile clan that's already on the brink of breaking. Cragpass also keeps a super close eye on the apprentices. In her eyes, everything needs to go well. She's smart, she's tactical. Things need to go exactly as she plans, or else why plan anything at all? At the start of the clan, her apprentice is Mudpaw. However, she doesn't really train Mudpaw. She kind of just lets her go and focuses instead on keeping the clan together. The responsibilities Cragpass gives herself often overlap with Coldstar's responsibilities, which can lead to some tension, at least between the leader and the deputy. Cragpass often wonders what it would be like to be leader and has this ambition, which kind of matches this confidence she has in herself, specifically in her instincts, in these things that have helped her survive this long. We'll have to see how that goes, but from what I can tell, Cragpass cares more about the clan as a whole than the individual cats inside, viewing them almost as gears turning a machine. Next up is Weaselpounce, honestly one of my favorite cats, for no reason other than I love him. He's about 82 moons old and he is the clan's medicine cat. He comes from the same clan, again, as Coldstar and Skythud. He has always been a medicine cat. He actually survived what was going on, survived the flood, because he was away visiting StarClan, not because he'd received any sort of vision or message that something tragic was going to happen. No, he had questions that he wanted to get answered. But he didn't get his answers, and he didn't get a warning. His warning was getting woken up by a terrible rumbling, by the sound of thunder, as his clan was swept away. Weaselpounce still believes in StarClan. It's difficult not to when you've seen them, when you've walked with them, when you've listened to their voices, and seen the stars shimmering in their pelts. But he can't help but question their loyalties. They're supposed to protect and care for the living, and yet they let so many cats die. Weaselpounce is wise. He's a good speaker as well. Probably could have been a really good mediator, but never really was interested in anything other than being a medicine cat. He was the only kit in the nursery for about 2 or 3 moons following his birth, and when other kits, started popping up, he was left to protect them, keep them from getting too hurt. He had to be the big responsible one, and that never really left him. So yeah, Weaselpounce is currently struggling a little bit with his connection to StarClan, but he plans to do whatever he can to support his clanmates. Next up is Skythud. He's about 60 moons old, a warrior. He's pretty fierce and is described as being extremely smart, which is how he escaped the 2 legs. His scar doesn't come from training or a battle. Well, I guess it comes from a battle, just not the kind you'd think. Skythud's scar running just down his muzzle, under his eye, it comes from when he escaped the 2 legs. He helped some of his clanmates out from the flood, but then he was trapped in this strange silver cage that just closed in from all sides. He managed to claw his way through a broken wall, but the jagged edges scarred his face as he pulled himself free. While he'll now always be marked, he was at least free to return to the clan. He still struggles a bit when coming across 2 legs. He will run away, but he's doing his best, and he's always eager to patrol and be as useful as he can. A constant reminder that he escaped. He's not a kitty pet. He's with his clan, and he is doing what he can to protect those he cares about. I love him. I love him so much. He's so much fun. I absolutely wish Skythud the world. A little fun note is that this clan gen doesn't determine this. I do. I've said he's claustrophobic because I think it fits. It fits. He's claustrophobic now. And it's only for like super tight spaces, which kind of sucks because he's pretty slim, he's pretty tall. He doesn't pack as much of a physical punch. He's really good, kind of, at fitting into those thinner places, but now he really can't. Next up, Blossomspeckle, 70 moons old, strict, and smart. Blossomspeckle comes from the same clan as Cragpass, and is very familiar with her as a warrior and as a mentor. Blossomspeckle was Cragpass's apprentice, and used to look very highly on Cragpass, but having Cragpass as a mentor really dampened that liking. Blossomspeckle actually has a bit of blackmail on Cragpass right now. Blossomspeckle is strict more towards the warriors than the apprentices or kits. Blossomspeckle understands that mistakes may be made, but a warrior cannot afford to make those mistakes. Mistakes are for those who don't know better or who can't do better. And that is something she learned from Cragpass. The primary difference here is that Blossomspeckle is actually very close to the kits and apprentices of ValeClan, taking on a sort of motherly role when they needed one. Next up, honestly, my favorite cat, Thrushchasm. I love him. He is 101 moons old, he's a nice senior warrior, and he's described as a good fighter and strange. He's not strange like maybe Goosefeather or other cats that are just kind of kooky and weird. Thrushchasm just has different behaviors, different things he's used to doing to survive. Thrushchasm was not raised as a warrior, but actually a loner. He joined ValeClan following the destruction of his old haunts. He used to hang around the territories a lot, the camps, anything like that. He was actually a super close friend with a lot of the clans. He was one of those loners that would just pop into the camps and talk to the other cats. And a lot of people liked him. He of course wasn't allowed to hunt on their territories, anything like that, sharing their fresh kill, no. But following the destruction of these places he used to go, he did end up joining the clan. He wanted to help these cats that he'd grown to care about. And these cats have grown to also care about him, so he was very quickly welcomed in. He's probably currently their best fighter, and that's because he doesn't have any of the inhibitions a clan cat might. When the clan starts out, he's given an apprentice, Greenpaw, but honestly, they're kind of apprentices to each other. Greenpaw helps Thrushchasm get acquainted with camp life and clan life, while Thrushchasm teaches Greenpaw about fighting, hunting, all of these things he has learned. Next up are 4 cats that all come from the same clan. We are on to the apprentices and Rabbitkit, the only kit in the clan, the only kit that we know of survived. Mudpaw and Greenpaw each are about 11 moons old at the start of the clan, on the verge of their warrior assessment. They wanted to prove themselves, they wanted to prove their usefulness, their ability to be a warrior. So late after the moon is already high in the sky, rain pelting down is not enough to stop them, but the pair goes out of the apprentice's den to go hunt. They're stopped by Mistlepaw, who actually doesn't even ask to join them, basically just says, "Hey, what are you doing?" before being ushered along with Mudpaw and Greenpaw. The pair were afraid Mistlepaw might give them away or tell the warriors what they were planning. Mistlepaw is about 9 moons old at the time, so he was not on the verge of his assessment, but he followed anyway. He didn't really have a choice, they didn't leave him much of one. Rabbitkit, who was awake at the time, ended up following the trio out, and that's why all 3 of them were outside of their camp at the time. Mudpaw is described as righteous. Greenpaw is also described as righteous. You have 2 very righteous cats. Mudpaw is also our first trans cat. For their pronouns, I am using they, she. But yeah, that's awesome. We got our first trans cat right off the bat. But moving on, Mistlepaw is described as calm. Mistlepaw really is almost robotic in how he talks to others, treats others, but he's still a pretty good, unbiased, almost buffer between 2 arguing parties. He prefers to talk rather than fight or hunt. He doesn't have the same drive, and he'll often tell stories or comment on certain things rather than focus like he should be. Rabbitkit is just that, a kit. At about 5 moons old, she's pretty polite. She tries to be as nice as possible to everyone. You don't want to make a warrior's day harder than it needs to be. She was always a pretty eager kit, but following the tragedy, she stopped being such an eager kit, preferring to hang back. As I said before, Mudpaw and Greenpaw really led the charge outside of camp. Mistlepaw is the one who ends up noticing Rabbitkit, and Greenpaw has a lot of fun trying to just teach Rabbitkit about hunting, and how to do it. So Rabbitkit actually got a little bit of insight there, and that honestly might be one of the main reasons they did not catch anything if you ignore the torrential downpour. When they heard the rumbling of the dam cracking and breaking, and just the flood tearing through the gorge, it is Mistlepaw that stopped Mudpaw and Greenpaw from running back in to try and help whoever they could. Following this, Greenpaw and Mudpaw really aren't huge fans of Mistlepaw. They might have been friends beforehand, but unfortunately, there's some resentment now held towards Mistlepaw after what happened to their families and clanmates. Now, that is actually the full clan, all 10 cats at the start of the game. I do, of course, have other cats that have been brought in since then, in the first year, and I will be covering them in a second video if people are interested in a second video. I am super interested and might just do it anyway, but, you know, still figured I'd ask. I'm gonna head out for now. I will probably be working on a first year video pretty soon. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed these cats and fall in love with them as much as I have over the course of, I guess, a year. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Peace.